Hi everyone. I wanted to talk about an important topic. The original sin conception of American history, how it justifies rules of progressives and left-wingers in America, and how conservatives, right-wingers, and white nationalists play into that conception of America. So I recently watched a video. I'm not sure who the creator was, but he's a very popular creator. I assume he's a white nationalist. I don't know his politics or his leanings, but he's a white chauvinist, essentially. He thinks that America is fundamentally a white nation, that if you are pro-racial equality, you hate America. He believes certain aspects of this idea, that this conception of America as a country that was founded on the principles of equality, freedom, liberty, those conceptions are less explanatory of the conceptions of America than the white supremacist one. So what did he say? He talked about a bunch of founders' sayings on pretty much the preservation of the white race. You know, the idea that if Black Americans were to obtain freedom, that they should be deported to Liberia and not be under the same government. He talks about huge conceptions of America being founded for white. And this plays into this principle that progressives have, which is this notion of the original sin of America. It justifies their rule completely, because when white nationalists say that white supremacy founded America, and you look at the Constitution of the United States, fundamentally enshrining individual liberty and freedom, there's a huge disconnect. Because if Black people aren't people, if Native Americans don't have rights, if foreigners don't have rights, then fundamentally the Constitution is hypocritical. So what progressives say is that because of these injustices, these historical injustices, the American founding was illegitimate, and the entire trajectory of history was correcting for the errors of the American founding. The Civil War fought over the principles of freedom. The Civil Rights Movement fought for the equality of Blacks and other minority groups to have an aspect of freedom, the same rights, freedoms, and virtues of citizenship that whites have. All of this is pushing towards the notion that, you know, this sort of Marxist conception of fundamental equality of outcome is the end goal of the American Revolution, which justifies progressive rule. Now, I don't agree with the original sin notion. I believe the more conceptual, America as a project in Enlightenment freedom notion, which is different than the original sin conception, because my personal perspective is different. But what the white supremacists said is that America as an idea is fundamentally flawed in and of itself. It is a white supremacist. The white supremacist argument is that America is the land for white people. So if my conception is wrong, then they play into the progressive original sin narrative. And if the original sin narrative is right, then who would defend an America founded for white people? Almost no one. Even half of white people wouldn't defend it, because they feel a sense of huge historical guilt towards the sins of the founding of America. And I don't even believe in this conception. I believe that America was conceptually founded on Enlightenment principles of liberty, property, and responsibility with rights. So the white supremacists play into this notion. And the more center-right / center-left conception of America is that America is founded on values of principles of freedom, liberty. Yes, there were problems, and yes, we fought wars to reduce these historical mismatches. But there was no original sin of America, because America is fundamentally founded on principles of property elites managing their societies and breaking away from the British conception of absolute class dominance. In another conception of the word, what I'm trying to say is that America was founded upon, if we were to make this Latin America by this, like the Latin American conception, it was pretty much the freedom from the islanders, the British rule for the Criollos, like the founding stock, the elites of the society that fundamentally have aspects of America. So it's about home rule, like ruling from Americans having the right to self-govern. Now, a huge problem with the white supremacist notion of America is that and it goes to for a bind, because if America was truly founded upon whiteness, it would have been a major issue of the day. And they would have stated that, this nation is found forever upon the notion of whiteness and white self-expression. The descendants of the British, America is home to these people forever. But the founders didn't put in the Constitution for good reason. They felt no worries about demographic replacement, found aspects of people who would worry about demographic replacement not to be matters of constitutional import. The thing is, if this was a major issue, they would have put it in the Constitution. And now white supremacists of the modern day, because they are feeling fearful, feel genuinely like mind-fucked by the way America has turned out to become. They feel so disempowered that they feel like they need to establish a white nation, make America a white nation. This is ridiculous. It's insecure. Fundamentally, if you need a law to establish something, that shows that you're insecure about that issue in the first place. The reason why we have murder laws is because murder is such an important aspect. It's controversial. It's a highlighted issue that we prosecute murders. The reason why we have rape laws, we have bestiality laws, we have laws about all sorts of deviant behavior is because there was a concern that this was an issue. So if the founders reasonably thought this was a concern, they would establish laws to enable what they were trying to enable. And if it was important enough, they would put it in constitutional law. So essentially this white supremacist notion, although you can find justification for that as you can find justification for anything, twisting the founders' words, it does not sound reasonable. And this original sin conception of America is fundamentally going to be served by white Americans, white nationalists, harping on these points and encouraging these points. Thank you.